Hi, welcome back to Bear's Den Cooking. I'm Ron, and today we're going to be making pasta. I know this is the second video and the second Italian, but it's not all going to be Italian, I promise. We're going to do a bunch of different things as well. Before we get started on this recipe, I need you to just take a second. Okay, so basically the video I got this from, the chef I got this from, is Luciano's Cucina Italiana in Rome, or Luciano's Italian Kitchen, and he is calling it Amatriciana. It's not. It is to a degree, but at the same time isn't. From the comments in his comment section on the video, and it's from Aiden Films. They do a wonderful raw video of chefs all over Europe, chefs with Michelin stars and just great chefs all over Europe doing videos of them cooking. And there's some amazing stuff to find out there if you're interested. Now, in the comment section, Italians especially, we're crucifying him because it's not a traditional amatriciana. It is a deviation, and they claim that you leave Italian recipes alone. You don't change them. They are what they are because of what they are. I agree to a certain degree, but at the same time, there's recipes that are in Italy that are going to be a little bit different from region to region, especially before the 21st century when you have the ingredients that you have. Certain dishes are going to be a certain way on the Mediterranean, and maybe a little bit of a different recipe when you're in the Alps. Traditionally, though, a lot of times they're going to change the name of the recipe if they change it too much, because now it's become a new recipe. Much like we'd have a pasta recipe that is basically the sauce is just butter, cheese, and pasta water. Suddenly someone adds egg yolk. Now it's a different recipe. Someone adds guanciale. Now it's a different recipe. This I don't have a name for, so I'm not going to call it. The way his recipe is he adds carrot and celery to it, as well as onion to the tomato base. So it's not the traditional recipe. I've done it. I've known it for over a year now that I've been using this recipe, and I've been changing it myself and doing different things. Today I'm going to be using tomatoes, red onion as opposed to yellow onion, and I'm also going to make it a little more earthy with some fresh rosemary I picked from my garden. So I'm not going to call it amatriciana. I'm just going to call it, we're having pasta this evening because I don't want to make Italy mad. Basically, that's the main thing. So if you have a name for this recipe, if you know this recipe has a name, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Again, I will tag Aiden Films so that you can find this recipe the way he makes it. They do call him the king of carbonara, Luciano, because he made a wonderful carbonara that he won a Michelin star for at the age of 27. So I would just suggest even trying that out as well. So without further ado, let's get cooking. All right, so our oven is temped. I'm going to be roasting these vegetables, the tomatoes and the onions and the rosemary in the oven. Today I'm going to be roasting them at 375 for about 40 minutes to an hour. I'll check it and we'll see where they're at that point in time. So basically we're just going to start off with chopping up our tomatoes. They don't need to be small. Basically we're just going to take them, we're going to cut them in half again, in quarters, and we're going to toss them on our sheet pan, on our roasting pan. So for this recipe, I am going to be serving 4. So we are going to be using 10 off the vine fresh tomatoes for this recipe. Make sure your knife is sharp. Let the knife do the work. You don't want to be crushing your tomatoes while you're trying to cut them. And your board's going to be covered in all that juice that we want in this pasta. And now we will be adding some onion. So we're just going to cut our onion up, quarter it. All right, so now we got our tomatoes and our onions in the roasting tray. I'm just going to go ahead and add some of this fresh rosemary in there. It's going to give it a real earthy flavor to this dish. I was going to use some peppers in this as well, some hot peppers, but I'm not going to do that this time. I really want the rosemary of this sauce to be the star. Add some salt to this. Salt opens up the flavor receptors on your tongue, so you always want to use some seasoning. And we're gonna add I didn't remove the olive oil condom yet. And we're gonna add a generous amount of olive oil. Said in the last video, don't be afraid to use olive oil. Olive oil is life. And we're gonna go ahead and put this into our preheated oven. And we're gonna leave that in there for 40 to an hour, sometime around there. So we're gonna check on it in about 40 minutes and see how it's doing. And this recipe in the sauce, we are going to be using pecorino cheese. And then in the end, we're going to top it off with a mix of pecorino and Parmesan Reggiano. Alright, so these came out real nice. Everything's very soft and looking beautiful. And now we're going to blend it. I'm going to do a little bit of a time here. Let's go ahead and drop all this into your blender. You can also use an immersion blender. Or if you've got a powerful food processor, you can do that as well. Basically, we want to break all this up into a nice, silky, beautiful sauce. And add all these amazing juices in there as well. Get all that happy goodness in there. And we're gonna blend it up. Slowly build up the speed. The Vitamix will break down all of those seeds as well, so everything will be nicely blended up. Very smooth. All the rosemary will be broken down. Nice. Our water is heating up. We're going to start the pancetta. I did try to find guanciale. 3 different stores where I always find guanciale, and nobody had any guanciale, so it figures. So we're going to be using pancetta. We're going to start it off at a cold pan. You don't want it too hot to start off with because you're going to burn it before you get some of this yummy fat rendered off. So like a duck breast. We're going to start in the cold pan, and we're going to bring the heat up slowly. As this fat builds up, I'm going to drain a little bit of it off. Hopefully without harming anyone in the process. Starting a fire. We're going to be using a nice rigatoni in this, bronze die cut rigatoni. And we're just going to get this to an al dente. Cook time on this is 12 to 13 minutes. I'm going to get it around 9 or 10 minutes. And then we're going to finish it in the sauce. Alright, we're going to get ready to assemble this bad boy now. We're going to take some of our sauce. Put it in the pan, started heating it already. Drain our pasta. She's going to go in the pan next. There we go. Good. And we just want to coat all the pasta with this. We're going to finish the pasta in here so that the pasta takes on the flavor of the sauce, soaks it up. You may think your pasta looks smooth. When you look at it real close, under a microscope, there's all kinds of nooks and crannies. And that's going to bring a lot of flavor to the pasta because it's going to soak up that sauce. Whatever you put it in, it's a blank palette. Get the flavor of the pasta, but it's going to be enhanced by whatever you put it in. I'm going to let this finish in here. I am going to take a little bit of this pasta water because there's starch in here from the pasta. And it's going to help the sauce and the pasta bind together nicely. I'm going to add the pecorino that we grated earlier. Going to add a bit of saltiness as well as the cheesy flavor from the pecorino. So cheese is nicely emulsified. We're going to add in our pancetta that I wish was guanciale. Good enough. It's better than having a resort to bacon.